Welcome to Heritage Auction sale of December 4th, to be held in New York City, devoted to art glass for collectors. This is the second art glass sale we've done, and it's the best one we've done so far. I'd like to take you on a quick tour through the sale, beginning at lot number 1. This is a great one. It also represents the work of the Daum brothers from the period in which they really came to strength in the 1890s. So this is ideal, I think, to begin an auction devoted to mostly French art glass and a collection of very elegant perfumes. Within a few lots, you come to another group of Daum featuring what we call the rain pattern. I especially like lot number 8. It's a vase patterned on both sides with a very rainy forest scene. And you may think this is somewhat melancholy, which indeed it is, not the bright, pretty, summery colors that we see in some of the other Daum. But there's a purpose for this. In the late 19th and into the early 20th century, the art glass makers were very heavily influenced by the French Romantic movement, particularly poetry, back to and including Charles Baudelaire. And there's something of the Baudelairean impact in the rain vases of Daum, and indeed in their landscape vases in general, which are more akin to the happier aspects of French poetry and the Romantic movement. But that's a great vase. When you get to lot 28, you'll see one of the prettiest vases in this group. Very simple, beautiful through its simplicity, you might say. And it's not easy to render colors like this in a small glass vase. But Daum in Nancy at the turn of the century was capable technically and artistically of producing things like this. And arguably, they're the prettiest vases that have been produced in the art glass movement. The most unusual of these Daum landscape vases has to be lot 42. If you look at it on the screen, it looks like a typical cabinet vase with what we call the winter landscape, a favorite of the Daum brothers decorators. But then you look, it's 19 inches high. It's enormous, almost what we could call monumental. Very unusual, and perhaps the largest of these landscape vases I've seen. It's quite an impressive object. A nice feature of that particular vase is that it retains the original retailer's label with the name Majorelle. Daum and Majorelle are two of the best known names in the French Art Nouveau movement. They were neighbors in Nancy and collaborated commercially. The auction includes a fabulous selection of works by Emile Galle. Lot number 86 is arguably the best of these, and certainly the rarest. Emile Galle has sometimes been called the father of the Art Nouveau movement. This vase, which is entirely patriotic, of course, featuring Joan of Arc on the front panel and an image, a shield of Lorraine on the back, is an extraordinary tour de force by Galle, probably made in the mid-1890s. It comes from an old collection purchased in Paris, most likely in the late 1960s, and has been buried in that collection since then. Like much of the glass in the sale, it's coming to the market fresh. Much of this was collected in the 60s and 70s and is just coming back for the first time. Just 2 lots later, lot 88 is a vase that I found recently in an estate in New Jersey. It's undocumented as far as we know. An exquisite piece of Galle once again, probably made even earlier, perhaps in the late 1880s, painted in Emile Galle's signature technique and most likely his own hand, and applied with 2 strange amorphous figures. It retains its original bronze base, and this to me is a piece of Galle of museum quality and a great find. I couldn't resist lot number 104, the only piece in the sale by Lutz, the Austrian glassmaker, but it's got everything you want in a piece of Lutz. It's that superb dimpled form, entirely organic, beautiful condition, decorated internally and externally, and it's got a lovely engraved signature on the bottom. English art glass is well represented in the sale too. The English began making cameo or overlay glass even before the French did, but they didn't do it in quite the same way. There are a number of pieces by the best known English glassmaker Thomas Webb and Sons, but I especially like lot 117 by Stevenson Williams, the neighbor and rival of Thomas Webb. It's just such a pretty and such an English piece, patterned with primroses. One feature of this auction is property from the estate of Shirley Jacobs Alter, and she was, like all great collectors, a connoisseur of the subject, and entirely passionate about her collection. She focused on perfume bottles and also on the work of Rene Lalique. I'd like to draw your attention to lot 156, which is typical of Lalique in that it features strange creatures, cicadas in this case, not everyone's favorite creature perhaps, but Lalique found them beautiful. It's an early bottle by Lalique, probably made as early as 1910, when Lalique started his association with Francois Coty. So a great piece in superb condition, as can be said of most of the pieces from the Shirley Jacobs Alter collection. Lot 182, just a few lots later, is a perfume burner, a very decadent object. You fill it with alcohol-based perfume, remove the cap, and it can be lit through a wick system, all of which is there and intact, and give off a fragrance throughout your boudoir, if you like. I especially like lot 229, which Lalique titled Victoire. It's one of the rarest and unquestionably the most elegant of his range of 29 hood ornaments. It's an icon of the age of speed, as that period is often called, with its streamlined imagery, and perhaps the most Art Deco of all objects in the sale. Lalique made a small but extremely elegant range of objects for the wine lover. If you're one of those, try lot 241. It's a decanter from 1913, early and beautiful in its execution, with a silvered metal stopper, all original. In 1921, Rene Lalique opened a modern works in the Alsace region of France. This new factory allowed him to make objects of larger scale, including a wide range of impressive scaled vases that he made in a spectrum of colors. Lot 289 is a fine example of that, blown into a hot metal mold. The Poisson vase was made in different tones, but this rich red variety is perhaps the most successful. I also draw your attention to the final vase in the sale, lot 334, Serpent. Here he has coiled a serpent to form not only the pattern, but also the shape of the vase. This is very advanced from the point of view of design. The result is an exotic and, again, immensely Art Deco object. Lalique was also a master of opalescence. Opalescence, or that milky, clouded quality of glass, is certainly nothing new. But Lalique, I think, exploited the concept of opalescence better, certainly than any of his contemporaries. Look at lot 211, the famous Suzanne sculpture, which illustrates his mastery of the opalescent technique together with his extraordinary mastery of modeling the female form. We've included a small but very select group of modern Lalique pieces in this auction, all of them from limited editions. And I draw your attention to lot 349, Aphrodite Noire, the Black Aphrodite. She's extraordinary in scale, in elegance, and in modeling. So I hope you've enjoyed this little tour through the auction of December 4th. If you'd like to know more, you are, of course, welcome to come along and see the items on exhibition in New York from December 2nd until the day of the auction. I'm based in our new offices in New York City. You can call me at 212-486-3512 or email me at nickd@ha.com. And I look forward to helping you. Thank you again.